Welcome to Dialogues of Desire,
Non-Monogamy Unscripted,
the podcast where we're rewriting the rules of relationships.
So grab your intimacy and exploration passports and join us from the very beginning
as we embark on an unscripted, unfiltered journey
into the world of non-monogamy.
Welcome to Dialogues of Desire,
Non-Monogamy Unscripted.
My name's Britt.
And I'm Sophie.
And today we're talking about boundaries.
So what are boundaries to you?
Boundaries to me are restrictions you place on yourself so that you don't get harmed in any way.
Yeah. They're a little bit different to rules, I think. So boundaries are...
Bloody oath, they're different.
More like, if you do this, then this is what I'm going to do to ensure my safety.
Yeah. I don't want to put rules on our relationship, but I'll obviously have to put boundaries in place so that, and so should you, so that we both don't get hurt, but we know where we stand as well.
Yeah, we're also clear so that something doesn't come up and it's left of field if you say, well, I'm not okay with that, or if we haven't discussed it. But then I also know, and we both know, that there are consequences if something goes wrong.
Yes.
Or something goes against your boundary, then I have to understand that some things might need to change.
Correct. And boundaries can change.
Yeah, absolutely.
You might have something in place that over time might change.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Something that wasn't a boundary before, an incident might occur or something where then I'm needed to put a boundary in place to make sure that in the next time I don't get hurt.
Yeah, I agree. I think until you really get into it, we can have like some core boundaries that are like very clear, or, you know, you might anticipate some things will come up, so you put boundaries in place for those, but there may be things that you haven't even thought of that affect you that you might need boundaries for. And same for me.
Yeah. In your previous relationship that we've spoken about on here, did you guys have rules or boundaries?
Not spoken until something may have happened. So, yeah, when I was at a fetish club and I met this guy and started flirting with him and kissed him, the guy that I was with did not like that.
Yeah.
We'd never spoken about it, so I would do my own thing in my own time, which I assume they knew about, but in front of him, that was really difficult.
Yeah.
But I think there was also kind of a thing that he was a bit jealous of men rather than women, which is a whole another thing and probably really problematic. But yeah.
Yeah.
There weren't really clear rules or boundaries.
Well, you were his and he didn't want anyone else.
Yeah.
No one else was allowed to have you.
A little bit, yeah.
I understand
that.
Yeah.
Well, if you understand that, then why are we doing this?
No, I'm only joking. I can understand why you'd want to have you all to yourself, though.
Yeah, well, you know. No, it's just...
You're enough.
Thank you. No, I don't know if it's about that, but I just, it would have definitely probably gone a little bit better if there were boundaries. I think rules, because when that was said...
I don't want to have rules with our relationship.
Yeah, but you still have to have standards and stuff that you will and won't accept. Like, you have said that you're willing to explore this with me in some capacity, but I also understand that that may not be able to happen. But I think with boundaries in place, it's more likely to succeed or have us both be happy.
Yeah.
But if we don't have that, then it can go really south.
Yeah. But with boundaries as well, obviously they're important relationships, like intimate relationships, but also with family, we should have them, friends as well. Like, I know that I put boundaries up in my relationships with my dad and my brothers, in order to make sure, that I'm seen and heard, but they know that if they cross that's then on them and not on me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think in those instances as well, like, we all know that we can't control another person.
Yeah.
So by putting those boundaries in place, you can at least control what happens if they do cross a line.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're kind of just sitting there like, why are they doing this to me?
Yeah.
And it's all internal and they're not either they don't know or they don't care. So at least if you've got those things in place,
Correct.
then you're better off in the sense
Yeah.
of, you can
Sometimes
actually look after
people push that line, but once that line is in concrete,
Yeah,
then,
that's right.
you know, yeah.
Exactly. And there's still, I think with boundaries, there's a bit more flexibility and like, well, there's more respect probably as well.
Yeah,
like,
I think
I
so.
respect you, so therefore I'm putting these things in place so I can ensure that our relationship is healthy. And
Yeah, and then in turn, you know that you're being respected when they're, like, listening to your boundaries.
yeah,
Like,
right.
I thought I was going to lose my relationship with my dad when I put these boundaries in, and he's actually come to the table.
Yeah,
Which means that we can actually have a good relationship.
exactly.
And I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to do that. And obviously that worked with him, rather than you saying, I'm not talking to you anymore, which was kind of what I did with my dad myself, but that didn't really work. I didn't put those boundaries in place because I was young and probably too shy, and I felt bad.
Didn't know about boundaries as well. Like, I feel like it's a new thing in the last probably 5 or so many years where we've gone to work on ourselves, and that's a big thing. Put boundaries in so that, you're controlling the situation a bit better.
Yeah, yeah. And rather than putting hard and fast rules in,
Yeah.
you just take ownership a little bit more. I think, like you're saying, in the last 5-10 years, people are putting in more of their own boundaries for their own sake rather than putting it on somebody else to ensure that they are okay.
Yeah.
They themselves are okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you thought of any boundaries that we need to have in place? Or do you, like, before we go into our non-monogamy,
yeah.
not experiment, but
I think, what I've said to you from the beginning, and it is a boundary, because you can, at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want, but no lying or lies by omission. I'm like, if you lie to me, then that's it for me. But that's maybe a bit of a rule. I guess I could say that if you lie to me,
they might cross over, but it's not a rule. That's a boundary that I want truth and honesty.
Yeah.
And if you can't give that to me, then that's on me, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I would be more closed off. Even if we did continue the relationship, I know that I would be way more closed off and you wouldn't get the parts of me that you have seen by being honest.
Yeah. But I wouldn't want you to be closed off, because then I'm not getting the full Sophie.
Exactly.
And that's what I've signed up for, because she's amazing.
Other than that, I don't know. What boundaries do you think you have with me as of now?
Just, and I know this might sound real cliche and whatever, but just being able to, if we are having a disagreement, which all relationships do, and it's healthy to have a disagreement because therefore you can figure out how each other are, what's annoyed or you, and how to resolve stuff. Like, it's just normal. I just want to do it in a respectful manner. I don't want to be yelling at each other. I want us to both participate in it, because in previous relationships that wasn't the case.
No.
And I think you can still have a disagreement but be respectful, and I want us to talk to each other nicely and not gaslight each other and
I agree.
all of that.
I'm just laughing because when you say yell at each other, we both say that each other are yelling and we're not. I'm like, it's because I'm Greek. I'm not even yelling, but...
Well, I'm just matching your level.
I'm matching your level, which is very loud.
I'm a loud person.
You will say, don't talk to me like that, and I'll be like, stop fucking talking to me like that. So you ask me, whereas I'm like, no, do not talk to me like that. But, yeah. So I guess that for me, I'm kind of basing what happens in terms of our exploration of non-monogamy on how comfortable you feel. Like, I obviously have needs and things that I want to do, but it is desires. But I guess I'm kind of, for me, I'm probably just waiting for you and for this discussion to be had so I can be like, yeah, I also agree, or I thought about it a little bit differently, but I think, I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but maybe you tell me some of the boundaries you might have in terms of me going out and meeting people and I can tell you if I agree or not.
Yeah.
Rather than me, because I don't want to open up myself and be like all these things, and then you're like, oh fuck, I have to agree with her because I might lose her if
I think you've created it is you. I'm putting it to you. Have created such a safe place and a secure environment for me to open up that I feel like I would be able to say, oh, I know that you want to do this, but I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable or whatever. Like you've provided that in this relationship. So I feel like I could come to you and be like, I feel uncomfortable with this, or can you just whatever. Not telling you how to run your show or whatnot, but I feel like I would be able to communicate if I'm feeling insecure or jealous at different points, or whatever might be running through my mind, uncertainties. I think I'd be able to come to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had conversations when people have come, or people from my past have kind of come back into my life, whether it's like a message from, I've had a few actually since we've been together, from different people, or just messages that if it was a monogamous thing, which I guess from now, well, up until this point it has been, are quite disrespectful of other people to just maybe cross some boundaries that you shouldn't cross. But I've told you about all those instances.
Yeah.
Not all those instances, like people are chasing me, but, there have been a few and I've just been like, oh, this person messaged me or whatever. And, so
I appreciate you opening up to me and being honest and open with all of that as well. Yeah. And then me having questions on that as well and you answering them. So I appreciate all of that, and that also makes me feel like safe and secure in this relationship, and figure out where I stand as well. Yeah. But I'm sure once you get out there, I will, also at times it's all about communicating and making sure that you're communicating to me what you're doing and stuff. Like you can go and do whatever.
Well, let's sorry to stop you there, but is there anything that I could do that you are like, absolutely no?
At the moment, no. Like in my head, based on some of the things that we've spoken about that you need and desire, like my head goes pretty far deep. So, like I'm assuming, like you'll be having sex with these people, whatever, different positions, tying you up or whatever. Kissing, I imagine that's all there. I might not want to see that in front of me just yet, but at the same time, I'd be keen to also have a threesome with you. But
I think that should definitely on the cards.
Yeah, but in relation to like physical boundaries, I don't think there's anything just yet. Like my head's running wild in the things that you might be doing, but I don't know how I feel yet. It actually kind of turns me on a little bit thinking about it, but but yeah, emotionally, I think that might be more of a different boundary, and I don't want you to cut yourself off from me emotionally as well, because I think that's what don't get me wrong, I love our sexual intimacy as well, but our emotional intimacy is really lovely, and like I don't want to lose that. Yeah. Because that means so much to me and makes our relationship so special.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I appreciate that.
Watering my eyes.
Do you think that because sex is definitely something that I'd be open to. If I wanted to explore like an actual relationship or an emotional relationship or like a parallel type thing, how would you be okay if I shared things about myself with other people? Is it just like you just don't want me to close off from you and then be really open with somebody else?
Yeah, I think at the moment I think that, and that's probably one of my hesitations or whatnot. Like, I feel pretty secure that, like, this is a good relationship and, yeah, it will continue going forward. But, yeah, I just wouldn't want you to shut off from me or what. I know your kinks as well that you're kind of looking for. So in my head, I understand that, but I also understand wanting to be, emotional in that sense as well.
Yeah.
I just don't want to lose any of you as well from that.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe, I mean, in the beginning, I would say you were a little bit more closed off emotionally. And maybe...
Our relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well...
Just less open than I am, which is understandable.
Yeah.
And I think back then, like I probably did say to you, this is why non-monogamy could work, because I shouldn't have an expectation of you to be super, super open, or, you know, respond to deep things that I tell you in the way that I want you to respond, which is, you know, whatever. But I think we've gotten to that point now where you are open and you can, I don't know, pick up cues and don't just disregard some traumatic fucking thing that I'm telling you. But yeah, I don't think that where we are at this point in time, that there would be anything that I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I'd be kind of relying on somebody else to fulfill that emotional need.
Yeah.
But it's just like when you have a friend, you know, I might have a story and I'll tell one of my friends and then I'll tell another friend, and there's no difference in the way that I tell the story. I'm just telling my story.
Yeah, and look, I would love to be able to be there as well in, I don't know how to explain this. But, like, if you do have other partners, like, I want you to maybe talk about a fun activity that you guys did or whatever.
Yeah.
If that's the way it went as well, where you had
What, to you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like...
Well, that's probably another topic now. So you talk about what to disclose to you now. So basically, so let's just, hang on. Let's just recap. You're okay with me having... My idea is sex and emotional, possibly a relationship, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sex or emotional relationship, if it...
Sex, I just assumed would happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to know all the details of where
they've been. That's fine.
And
they might not want that either.
Exactly, yeah. But emotionally wise, I just don't want you to close off from me. And in a relationship, I just think that will just be, I guess, how it goes. And I can't tell you at the moment. I don't know anything else. Like, I've never experienced this. I can't say whatnot. I just want you to still be you to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or I don't know if that's being selfish. But
no, I don't think it is, because you know me as one person. That's who you've fallen in love with. So if you did see a change, or like a drastic change, I don't think I would change as a person because I'm just me. But
yeah,
if you saw that I was maybe a bit distant, or I mean, time in terms of like time wise, that would probably change, considering we spend so much time together. But there's still things that you can put in place so you don't feel like you're like,
missing out,
out, or like somebody else has taken your place or anything like that.
Yeah, and I reckon I will at times feel that way, where I'm feeling left out or I'm feeling jealous. Like, that's just a normal feeling, an emotion to experience, especially when you're never done this before, you know?
No, I agree. I've felt the same when I was in that previous thing. Like, there are still moments where you get a bit insecure, and if you chose to explore it, which you said no, but again, you may change your mind. I don't know, it might put less pressure on me to feel like, I mean, because I don't know, we haven't started this yet, but I don't want to feel like bad for exploring. So
I don't want you to feel bad either.
Yeah.
I've said yes as well, that I'm happy and open for you to do this.
Yeah, I know. But there's all these weird things that have happened, like burning my hand today and breaking that cup, that I'm just like, fuck. Is this the universe telling me, you've got a good thing, don't fucking ruin it? But that's very like old school monogamous wog kind of way of thinking. Like anything other than monogamy is, I don't know, like a sin, and, you know, the bad things will happen.
The reason why you burnt your hand was because...
I was making you breakfast. Yes, correct.
And I cracked it with the bread.
That's true.
So...
And I was stressed.
You weren't thinking. You were worried that I had nearly chopped my hand off with the bread as I'm... Correct. And you've just grabbed this hot thing. So
well, I did tell you to just stop so I could do it, but anyway.
That was my fault.
It wasn't your fault. Anyway.
We both need to listen to what we want and need, and you have kinks and desires and needs that I can't fulfill, and that's okay, because I don't want to take away, I don't want you to be with me and miss out on all of that when maybe we can still be together and you get all of that.
Yeah, but...
And then, I don't know.
I don't think I don't think it's a lack of anything. I think it's just more that wanting to be open in some ways. I've spoken about before, I've been so restricted in life and done things by the book or felt so much shame and all this bullshit that I think part of this new phase in my life, because I do feel like my life has changed a lot, is like just doing what I feel is right and not care. I know people are not going to be okay with this. I know people are going to be not understand it, but I just don't care anymore. I've spent literally 31 years of my life worrying about what other people... If my sexuality thing was very clear for me once I turned like 15, 16, you know, I was very clear that I didn't give a fuck who knew, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like this is almost like a new kind of coming out, and it is awkward, but I'm also like, I just don't care. I'm exhausted and I just want to be unapologetically me.
Yeah. Amen. And you should be. And who gives a shit? People won't understand it. I sometimes don't understand everything. Like, I'm still learning, and like, I love learning new things and doing things, whether it's about non-monogamy or whatever, cooking, cocktails, whatever. Just
that's a little bit less hurtful, or potential to be hurtful, but yeah.
No, but like, we're going into this relationship knowing relationships can end or do it any time.
That's right.
So you may as well be your true self in this relationship. And same with me, like, you're powerful beyond measure. Shine your light, because then that allows other people to shine.
I agree. And I think because we've spoken about, well, it was the thing from the beginning. It's not like it's a new thing. Again, I've told you, like, even we haven't moved in together, and I've said to you, I think we need to start this whole, like, actually get into this non-monogamy thing, being open. I'm not saying I'm going to meet anyone straight away, but I think we need to start, or I need to start that stuff, so in case that if you do feel like it's too much or you don't want to be a part of it, that you're not stuck here and like, fuck, I can't get out. Like, at least we still have our separate places, and if it's too much for you, then you can make that decision. And you know, I might initially think, well, now I have to be monogamous, but I know probably in my head that maybe that wouldn't be the best idea, and is more likely that the relationship may not go on. But who knows? We
might find a great balance. I don't know what has in store, whether you have multiple relationships, whether you just have sexual relationships, or whether you have a sexual and emotional relationship that's real, just kind of casual, you know, where I have no idea what has in store. Let's just embrace it. I'm happy for you to obviously have sexual relationships with people. That just made me think of that, Mary. I do not have sexual relations. No, but I'm happy for you to have sexual relations with people. Like, that's what I expected. Emotional stuff might be a bit more harder for me, but I am also, like, understanding that happens. Like, I can have sexual relationships with people as well, but I much prefer to have, like, a bit of an emotional connection as well to make that sex so much fucking better. And then relationships, if that happens, that happens. We talk about it as that grows. Like, you might meet somebody that's absolutely amazing as well. And who am I to deny you being able to be in 2 relationships with amazing people?
Well, yeah, true. Well, yeah, but I mean,
I just don't want to miss out, or I don't want you to, like, I don't want to lose a part of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think there's a part of me that can be taken away from you by having somebody else there. I mean, I don't know, maybe time. I think time is probably one thing. But I think in terms of everything else, would you want to hear or not? Would you be okay with me talking about it? Not saying that I do want to talk about my other experiences.
I don't know, and I don't want that to be like a cop-out just yet.
No, that's fine.
I think I would want to know some things. I wouldn't want to know how much they made you fucking cum or squirt or whatever. But yeah, like, I would want to know some aspects.
Just general, like, okay, I went on a date and I did have sex, but you wouldn't want to know the actual ins and outs. Would you want to know that I had sex, like if I went on a date?
Yes.
Okay.
I would want to know that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to know what you're doing. I'd want to know that you've had sex with somebody. I would hope that doesn't change how I feel or anything. And at the moment, I think in my head, I have already done images of you having sex with other people anyway. So
I haven't got enough to it, but
but yeah, like, I would want to know if you're having sex and like what precautions you did as well, so that I know that I'm still safe as well, like sexual health and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it was with a guy, are you having contraceptive?
Talk to me about what your boundaries are in relation to sexual health and all that sort of stuff. Like, what you tell me, what you expect.
You can do
I know what I expect.
You can do whatever you want in that sense. If you don't want to have sex with a condom, you don't have to. But I would then also want... Why are you...
Oh, no, I'm listening.
But then I would want you to maybe have like health sex tests and stuff.
So would it be fair to say that boundaries are like condoms, for example, if I was sleeping with a guy? So basically sexual like barriers?
And that's up to you, because I understand that sex is better without a condom.
No. I'm not. No. Hang on a second. I'm asking.
Wear a condom, kids.
I'm saying, I mean, I think, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but what I'm hearing you say, and I would agree with you if it was the other way around as well, if you were doing it, is that I would prefer that you either get like a clear sexual health test from the other person and yourself, like everyone's clear, and then maybe stop using barriers. But before you get those tests that you use condoms and whatever else to protect yourself, or for me, protect myself and protect you.
Yeah, well, obviously,
I would think that's fair.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want in the sense of condoms and stuff. But if we're then going to be intimate, I would want you to have a test. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
That's literally what I just said.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but well, that's what I thought I said.
Yeah, so you're saying your boundary is if I have unprotected sex without the necessary, like, steps of sexual health tests and whatever, then you may not want to have unprotected sex until such time as I am in the clear.
Yeah. Or we then, until you're in the clear, would have
protected sex. Yeah.
Sucks for me. No, but seriously, but then, yeah. I'm not going to... we all know that guys don't use condoms.
No, that's not right. I'm sorry.
I know that's...
Well, I understand what you're saying, but no, because it's also... I make the decision there.
Correct. That's what I'm saying, babe.
I wouldn't put it
But all I'm saying is everyone, once people have had drinks and there's sexualness and whatnot, you might choose before you even, like, you might meet somebody, go on a couple dates and whatnot, think this is going well, are going to have sex together and whatnot, but you both decide to go get checked before you both even have sex so that you know that you don't have to be protected as such.
I don't know. I'm very much about condoms, and if it's not on, it's not on for me.
Okay.
For sexual
There you
health,
go.
sexual health, obviously, but also I don't want a baby, and I'm not on the pill, and I don't want to be on the pill, and I don't want to be on any contraceptive.
Yeah. Okay, well then definitely
personal
condoms
reasons.
would be...
But yeah. So I guess maybe if I was on the pill or if I had the rod in, maybe I would think differently, but I don't think I would because I don't think I'd enjoy it. Unless I really...
Yeah.
If I'm with the person, like in a relationship or something quite serious, then I would... Obviously, my mind would change on that. But for like a one-night stand, I would not be able to enjoy it,
Yeah.
you know, as much. I mean, yes, things can happen or you might not use it one time, but that, again, is I would need to understand that if I was to do that, then
These
there
are
would
the
be...
implications.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
But I do agree that I think barriers and just being cautious of things is the right way to go.
Yeah.
If that's what I'm going to do, because I also, you know, it's about me, but it's also about you, you know, protecting your sexual health as well as my own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning into part 1 of our episode on boundaries.
Stay tuned for next week for part 2. Bye!
I mean, yeah. Okay, so maybe a good question. If it was, firstly, do you want to, again, it depends on the partner and what they consent to, but thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Dialogues of Desire.
We hope you've enjoyed the conversation and maybe even learned something new.
If you loved what you heard or we've piqued your curiosity, make sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
We'll be sharing the latest and greatest content there, so you don't want to miss out.
And don't keep all this juicy goodness to yourself. Share our podcast with friends, family, or anyone you think might enjoy listening.
The more the merrier, right? Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and keep those conversations flowing. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are recording, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging.
We recognise their continuing connection to land, waters, and culture, and acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded. We extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. The views discussed in this podcast are our own and are evolving with our continuing experiences and ongoing knowledge.
This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not replace the advice of a health professional.